Hey guys, we're talking The Magician's After Show. Is Darth Elliott going to stick around? Who knows? Who's the God of the Week this week? Hint, it's Iris. It's Iris. Iris is the God of the Week. You know, peaches and plums, motherfuckers. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yes, right. I keep forgetting.
Yes.
That. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Magician's After Show on AfterBuzz TV. We're talking Season 4, Episode 5, Escape from the Happy Place. Really love that Escape from New York reference. I'm Adrian Snow, and here's my fellow co-host.
What's up, guys? I'm Nate Miller.
All right. So, yeah. Good episode, I thought. You know? What did you think?
I liked it. It was really nice to see Elliot again. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen him all season. I mean, like, real
Elliot, not Darth Elliot.
Yeah, and also, I am a big fan of, like, those flashback episodes when they actually, like, work within the context of the show, and it's not just, like, a really cheesy way to, like, reuse footage.
Yeah.
And I think they did a great job of that. There was a lot of stuff that I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. I did write that it's almost a clip episode or a clip show.
Yeah.
But thankfully they didn't do it for the entire episode, which I appreciate because it also just doesn't feel that old of a show to, like, let's do that. But it was nice to see those references come back, especially to the Walter Margot and original Quentin getting his butt kicked by original Penny.
Yeah.
I guess Quentin is still original, Penny's not, but you know. Yeah. In any case, I really enjoyed the episode overall. So let's just dive right in then. Let's go ahead and talk about Alice, since she's kind of like here briefly, then here a lot in the end. So just figured we leave with her. So we start with her just dealing with, I couldn't remember the author's name. So I wrote Mr. Caulfield because it's Mr. Sheffield. I'm realizing that now. It's been a long day. I wrote his name from The Nanny. So it's Mr. Sheffield. But Christopher Plover is back. And I don't know if you guys obviously talked about him last week, but how did you feel about Alice deciding to put him in the poison room?
I don't know. It didn't really seem like that smart.
No.
Because that's not like I don't feel like that's not like sending him to, purgatory or hell or something.
Yeah.
Like, you're just sending him to the room where all the dangerous stuff is, and he's a...
Well, because essentially it's supposed to kill you almost immediately if you're there for, more than, 10 minutes or something like that?
But we know that's not going to happen.
Well, I was like, dude, did you forget that he has all those charms carved into his head that keep him young forever, which I assume also keep him from dying?
Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to be, I think, a comeuppance for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was nice to see Alice, do some stuff. She's finally out of the library. Yeah, I was a little disappointed, but I also wasn't surprised. I mean, this is Alice. But I do think it was interesting what he said to her, which I think, it's hard to take advice from a monster, but he does say, excuse me, he does say, you can apologize for the things that you've done, but you can't apologize for who you are. Yeah. And it's actually kind of deep. Like, you make mistakes. But you have to understand why you make those mistakes, and like you can either change yourself as a person, but you can't run from it. You can't hide it. Like that's what it is.
And she kind of proved that when she decided to drop him in the poison room and then drop the rope behind him.
Exactly.
I mean,
immediately after having that discussion, yeah.
Clearly, Alice has some problems that she really needs to work on.
And even later, when she's talking to Quentin, she seems like she expresses some remorse for even doing that because she tells him, and she's like, am I a terrible person for doing this? Because I feel like I was doing the right thing. And she understands that there's a disconnect between what she feels is right and how other people respond and react to that, which is very interesting for a character to experience.
Yeah, it's like she's still recovering from Nif and Alice, and she hasn't quite figured out how to get back to that original Alice that questioned doing things and would sacrifice herself to save her friends and, and the universe and all that kind of stuff. And so that leads her, just to go off of that does lead her to finding her way back to Quentin to warn him that he's going to die in the next 2 days, which leads us to our, basically the entire gang has gotten back together with Penny and Shoshana, who was here for all too briefly, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, rest in peace, Shoshana.
Rest in peace.
She's a true one.
A little controlling for a Maynard, but it's okay. And so we realize with Julia that she has basically protections all around her, and once those are taken down, all the other gods can find her. And this makes me kind of think, like, I guess not, but would that be a way for Darth Elliot to use Julia to lure in other gods? Like, could he use her as a lure, do you think?
I'm not convinced.
Or is it just Iris?
I'm not convinced that Shoshana taking the wards down is what allowed Iris to do that. I think that was just like a timing thing, because later when they're in the park, Iris just knows where they are.
Well, because she knows when they drop the blood.
Oh, okay.
She's tracking it.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I assume that because Shoshana had dropped the wards, not just in the house, but around Julia, that's why Iris was able to finally track her down. Because there was something about, and I might be getting a little bit fuzzy because I watch way too much TV, but there was something about them being able to still kind of keep those protections up around them, even when they dropped the facades. So I don't know. Maybe that's why. I just assumed that because the wards were dropped, that's why Iris was able to get in and find her. Because it sounded like she had been looking for her.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. And then there was also the other thing, just to quickly jump to that, because he's here and then he's gone, of Penny being drugged, which I assume had something to do with the bounty.
I missed that the first time I watched the episode.
Me too. I kind of just...
It was, it comes at the end of that scene with Q and Alice, and then there's a sound that plays that makes it seem like it's going to commercial, and then there's a short scene, and I think I turned away and missed it. So the second time I watched it, I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah."
So I mean, I have no idea what that's about.
I assume because they still have a bounty on them, and so that question of well, there's a bounty, so even though they feel protected, they're still, if they go out in public, there's still a risk. And then also, I had a feeling that it might be the same guy who approached Marina early on. He looks kind of like the guy who was
I'd have to rewatch.
Yeah,
Maybe.
He looks similar to him, but I could be wrong. In any case, there's a lot happening with this whole gang. And so once Julia's been tasked with bleeding a stone, I was like, oh, that's a nice play on words. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We're kind of led into the rest of the story. What I really kind of missed, though, was I really wanted to see Darth Elliot go to Mesopotamia. I know they don't really have that kind of money, but, you could fake it.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. So we have Julia going off to bleed the stone, or... No, what does she do in that time where... Quentin's trying to bleed the stone? She and Shoshana go off somewhere.
Oh, they're looking up the runes that were on the
Well, that's before, though, because there's a time where she's gone with Shoshana, and then that's when Alice comes into the picture. Oh, no. Oh, wait. I'm getting it backwards. Sorry, guys. It's been a very long day. Anyways, let's go ahead.
Yes.
So, yes, they find that Darth Elliot's come back, and they're taking him.
Yeah.
Overall,
how do you feel about the decision to take Darth Elliot to break bills?
That's what I was going to say. I was like, that's an
seems
interesting
wildly irresponsible
choice. And why is it not setting off alarms?
Yeah.
And because clearly this is a very powerful being that just stepped into break bills, or floated them into break bills. And then also Julia doesn't have any type of... I don't know how the rules are working anymore. I think that's what I've come to realize is well, how are they operating? And I know they have some protections, but...
I mean, I was thinking of even the same thing last episode when Josh went back to talk to the teacher about the wolf stuff. They just kind of freely go back to break bills, which hasn't really been explained. I don't know.
I know that they have protections, but it just seems like the way that they're moving about the world kind of seems dangerous. So I didn't... it was convenient. That was convenient. There was something else I wrote that oh, well, that is convenient. Oh, we'll get to that later. Yeah, overall, it was a good episode, but there were a lot of things that were happening conveniently to get the story across. And I get that. That's
but they're moving things forward pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the just kind of the side effects of that, of them not trying to focus too much on polishing out everything and just kind of trying to get the main story moving forward, because now we're on to another god dead and another part of a body apparently.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought it was. Originally I thought the first part was a heart, and then I was like, well, it looks like it must be building parts of him. Like I thought originally that they'd taken parts of him and put them into the gods as like
a power source or something.
Or like Bacchus had his heart or something, or his shade or whatever, and someone has like a kidney. But I guess it's more like a puzzle piece, which is kind of curious. And then I also did feel that when they talk about, I'm jumping ahead. We'll come to that. Because I want to talk about Elliot later.
Okay.
There's so much to talk about when we get to Elliot. So, in any case, we get to the bleeding of the stone. And Alice comes back. And I don't know, do you think that Quentin's justified in how angry he is with Alice?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think Alice... I was looking at... Shout out to the Magician subreddit, Our Break Bills.
Oh, cool.
I was reading some comments in there, and somebody was talking about how they didn't feel like it was justified for Julia to be as mad as Alice because they kind of did the same thing. And somebody else responded, no, that's not true. Because if you look at Julia's intentions when she stole the sword, she was trying to kill a god that was... doing terrible things. And she was not really familiar with the beast, so she didn't really know what she was interfering with. Alice knew everything that was going on, and she still made the decisions that she made, mostly because she didn't want to admit her own faults from before, her own mistakes still. So,
you mean like that she was an addict to magic?
Exactly. So, I don't know. I'm kind of proud of Quentin for being strong enough to say... no, I can't let you back in here, like, because I'm sure that it's tough for him emotionally as well as like logically. So I don't know, but at the same time, like I can understand. I don't think Alice is a bad person, and I think she has good intentions. I just think that she's lost, and like also, where else is she gonna go? So I don't know.
That's true.
I thought it was a really the stuff between them felt really good in terms of like character development and how connected I am to the two characters. Like it was tough to watch. I feel for both of them. I feel for both sides. I think I do think he was right though. I don't think, at least right now, not without like some healthy counseling or something. Like,
well, I don't think they should get back together, but I just meant in terms of not taking her help.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like her being around like the friend group, like I just don't think it's.
Yeah, she did betray them. I mean, Julia portrayed them a year earlier. Even though it was different, it wasn't quite that different. She kind of had an idea of what was going on. Like, she did have a little bit of idea.
Yeah, but all of magic wasn't at stake. And, like, she didn't create an entirely new world order because of her choices.
I think that but here's the thing, like, Dean Fogg did the same thing. And they aren't as angry
Dean Fogg
with
is a whole nother
So that's kind of like,
bucket of troubles.
The one thing I will say I did agree with Quentin about was he said, I loved you, but you can trust that. And so I was like, oh, that's true. That if she just trusted him and trusted her friends, that would be different. And the same with Dean Fogg. If he could trust these kids to stop a beast for 40 timelines and God knows how many years, then you would think that he could trust them to get magic and not feel like he needed to tie, dance with the devil, essentially.
Yep.
In any case, did you have some words for us about our love
I
for
do.
AfterBuzz?
Before we move on to our next topic, we just want to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. For us to continue to grow, we could really use your help. If you're on YouTube right now, please hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe. And if you're on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us. We really appreciate you supporting us and doing what we love. Don't forget to tell your friends and keep enjoying our shows. If there's other shows that you're a big fan of that you watch and you want to hear conversations of, make sure you look them up on YouTube. More than likely, there's an after show for them too, so make sure you get involved in that conversation as well. Yes.
Please do subscribe. Talk to us on YouTube, Twitter, in the chat. We don't have it open today. Apologies.
Sorry.
We're a little short-staffed, as you can see. Everyone will be back next week, hopefully. But let's go ahead and move on to Margot. So basically, Margot's just been tasked with breaking the news that Elliot is dead in Fillory. And everyone is... the most outlandish mourning ceremonies are going on. I don't know. How'd you feel about the last lay and the bare-breasted laments and the altar of remembrance?
All I remember is that when she popped out of the bed and she said dick fuck or something, like she said some
really
wild expletive that just caught me like way off guard. I
don't hear that.
It was nice comedic relief, nice little fantasy poking, and I feel bad for Fen because she she has this connection with these characters, but they're always like so far away from her. She just gets like, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dead? Oh, okay. Like, that's got to be rough.
Yeah, stuff just kind of happens to Fen. It's just like, and your child's gone. What?
Yeah.
I'm
really curious to see, about the talking animal thing, because at first it was like, okay, and the sloth's not talking. Maybe it's sick, but...
But now it's the iguana, and so also probably the rabbits. I was just watching an episode from season 3 with the talking rabbits. So all of the talking animals, talking bears, everyone's just quiet.
Oh, not the bears.
So that's right, not the bears. Come on, save the bears. But it was nice to just kind of have Margot just also address that she's really just staying strong for Hillary. That she can't afford to break down.
Yeah,
she
that
can't,
scene was.
Yeah. She's like, if I cry,
tough.
I'll never stop.
That was
crying.
classic Margot, though. So.
Yeah. To just be like, I don't have time for this.
Yep.
I'm going to pop an Ambien. See you all later. And I'm like, yep, that's fair. Do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. Self-care is important. Now, we finally get to, I know we're kind of trucking along very quickly, but, well, it's fine. We'll stretch it out when we get to Elliot. Oh, my gosh. It's so good to see real Elliot. I love that Hale does have distinctive differences between Darth Elliot and Elliot. Like, Darth Elliot is kind of like an alien inhabiting someone's body. Like, even the way he waves at the end when he's saying hi to Quentin, it's just like, who puts their hand up like that to say hello? And to have Elliot coming back and having the discovery that Todd's name is actually Elliot, and Elliot was like, that's not going to happen. I appreciate that little touch. Yeah. I don't know. How did you feel?
It was cool. Like I said earlier, it was nice to get a flashback episode that worked. It wasn't didn't feel forced. And also there's a lot of that stuff that I had forgotten about. I hadn't, it's been a long time since I've watched the older seasons, and the stuff with when they slept together and stuff like that. Excuse me. I had completely forgotten about. So that was really cool. But yeah, just like you said, the way that he was switched, especially in that last scene, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see him perform like that. And yeah, I just really missed Elliot. He's when I think about the magicians, his performance, that character, is like a core part of my enjoyment. Yeah. So to get him back, making some jokes, talking about,
all the guys that he slept with, and all the boyfriend, what did he say? He said something about I sleep with a lot of people's boyfriends.
That scene with him and Quentin where they find the door, did we see that before?
Peaches and Plums? Yeah.
Were they kissed? No, we're not where they didn't kiss, but where he says it wouldn't
No. So
we saw part of it.
The original scene is just them sitting down and remembering everything, and it cuts away as they're eating the peaches and plums. So that's technically something that we didn't see originally.
Right. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. Because I was like, I completely missed this if they aired this before.
No, they didn't.
That was really interesting and unexpected for me.
Oh, that Quentin was like, let's try to be together. Well, I liked that they did that because it confirmed something that they kind of left up in the air originally. It's like, well, they spent all this time together, but I know Quentin did go off and have a baby with a woman, but were they in a relationship? Were they in a romantic relationship? Because I assumed that
I thought that was.
Well, I think I recall asking the question way back when the episode aired of, I know they had a brief romance at the beginning, but did they continue to have that romance throughout? That was my kind of question of.
That was my understanding. That's how I understood it.
Because I was like, I don't know if they're trying to
but
brush
also
it aside. So it was nice to have them confirm that.
But like he says, it's different if it's just the two of them, and that's what it is, and then you guys end up together.
Yeah, but that's life though. If you live in a small town where everybody knows everybody, and then you marry the boy next door, which was a common thing. I know you're making a face.
Small town's not one other person.
Well, no, but I mean in terms of it's a common thing for majority of humanity, at least modern humanity, we lived in small groups, and so we would only. It makes sense that you would just be with
group. Yes, somebody
one person.
Yeah.
But you can But we clearly know that we can kind of stay together for long periods, even in big groups.
I'm happy for them. I'm curious to see where this goes. I was just surprised. I didn't think that Quentin would like say that to him.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
I don't know. I just didn't see that from him. I didn't think that, like, when they remembered it, that his train of thought would be like, hey, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
I see it. I understand, especially when they're talking about it, but I was just surprised, especially because we didn't see it. I think that's why. I think it was, if that was like a plot that they were going to go through, I feel like they would have showed us that. Obviously, I understand why they didn't now. It was just really interesting. That was the last thing that I expected to be like his dark secret that was going to like open the door.
Well, I don't think it was, because they kind of clarified that it wasn't like a dark secret. That
just the thing that you're like most, what is it, afraid of?
Yeah. So the thing, because I wrote, it's vulnerability and commitment is what Elliot fears most.
Exactly.
And it was nice to see,
which makes a lot of sense for his character.
Yeah. It was nice to see them kind of take us along the path of like who Elliot has been even before we knew Elliot.
Yeah,
so you could
that was
see
really
him
cool too.
as a kid, and the first time he uses magic is to kill somebody.
Yeah, and the thing with his friend was really sad, him betraying his boy.
Become a bully, but it's also just so like sadly true to what high school life can be like. If two of you are outsiders because you're a part of communities that are basically frowned upon and oppressed, like then, to protect yourself, that was a common thing that you would see people turn against the other one to protect themselves, and it sucks, and it was unfortunate. But at least like they honored that that's like a part of growing up sometimes, that you make really bad choices. And
I think part of like why a lot of people like really connect with this show is because the characters are so real and flawed, and that's how people are. People make mistakes. People don't always do the right thing, and that doesn't make you a bad person. Sometimes you have to like learn from it. And so being able to see these characters and their flaws, especially like Elliot, who is such like a fun-loving, for the most part pretty light, even though he's got like some dark undertones, to see more of that and how he developed was really cool, especially when we haven't had him like all season. To get like so much of him, it was really, really well done, I think.
And we focused so much on Julia and Alice's and Quentin's families. It is nice to see Elliot's family. It would be nice to see Margot's family. And I've been talking about, like, when are we going to hear Penny's backstory for a long time. So it was nice to get a little bit more of Elliot in that way. But I did want to talk about when he mentioned when we got Charlton, who came back. And I love that, like, one of the first things that he says is, "What is fuck?"
That name is terrible.
Charlton? Well, it's kind of like Carlton. I think they're making
and Charles.
Yeah,
like combine them.
Charlton.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the name, but I like the joke.
Yes.
I think it's a joke of Carlton. Charlton.
Yes, I hope so.
But
that joke of him trying to figure out what fuck means throughout the episode.
Yes, and finally getting it when he's like basically about to die. He doesn't die, but he gets pretty close.
I thought it was really interesting, like getting more information about the monster too, and this idea that, which makes sense when we find out about the parts being part of a body, that he's just kind of hopping from host to host and then bringing the former consciousness with him. Is that what I'm to understand with? Because like that's what all the monsters are, and that's what Charlton is, right?
Yeah, well, unless they get destroyed. He said normally they get shredded, because that's the first thing he said. Normally you get shredded, but this is much better than that, being able to go to your happy place.
I thought him saying normally you get shredded was referring to like how he just is like killing people in the real world. Did I misinterpret that?
Maybe. But I thought that there was also another part to that, because he did say that someone else had been possessed, and the Shriekers can kill you as well.
Right.
So there was something about... we don't have the chat. We'll clarify it on YouTube or on Twitter what you thought that meant to the audience.
Yeah, please.
But
I've been curious how other people interpreted that.
Yeah, what I wanted to get to was he does say that thing about the Shriekers, who are the monsters, and those Shriekers are actually other inmates of the castle that he did possess, which made me think that this definitely has to be Pandora's box, because if those are the other type of beings that were a part of it,
evils or whatever.
Yeah, then I don't know. That was just kind of my idea.
But then how does the body fit into that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It depends on what type of monster he was that went in. So
Is he like Pandora, the monster? Like, because Pandora is the girl's name, though, right?
Pandora is the woman who had the box, yeah.
I don't know. I like that theory, but I'm starting to like. I think it's not that.
Yeah, it's just a theory, but it's also kind of like a reverse Inception, which is like he's having to break through the levels to actually get to. I guess it's not reverse Inception. I guess it is actually what they did. Come to think of it, Inception, good movie.
Interesting.
Kind of not good movie.
Hey, I like Inception.
I like Inception too.
A lot.
But depending on who you talk to, it's a good movie or it's kind of a not a good movie. Never a bad movie. You can put those thoughts on Twitter. Let me know what you think, people. And so, yeah, we finally get that moment where Elliot has that vulnerable moment with Quentin, where he finally gets to come out, and we get to explore all the. It was fun to see like all those other characters, but we talked about that already, and just having that switch that you said that was awesome to see Hale go from Darth Elliot to regular Elliot.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Why? Well, okay, well, expand on that then. It was crazy.
It was just from an acting perspective, like it's just really impressive. It's like when watching Westworld with Evan Rachel Wood when she goes from being active robot to like powered down. It's like having that that physical control. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Acting is hard. Not always, but so for him to go from that high to like that whole, even just the way that he like holds his head changed, like it's just really impressive. That's what I mean by crazy. He just turned it on. It was like, oh my God, Elliot's back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it was nice also to see that realization in Quentin as well.
Yes.
No one else saw it, which I was kind of bummed. I was like, wait, no one else is freaking out but Quentin.
I understand his like hesitation, but I feel like it would be incredibly out of character for the monster to like pretend to be Elliot to like fuck with Quentin. So I was surprised when he was like, "Come on, stop."
What
it's like, what?
I mean, that monster's done some pretty fucked up stuff.
I just feel like even if he tried, like it would be like, "Hey, Q, I'm Elliot." Like it would be like super awkward and like not smooth and natural like Elliot does.
No, yeah, I get it, but I also think that in that circumstance, he's not even thinking about.
Yeah, because he thinks he's dead.
He's got to kill him.
Yeah.
And just having that moment where he says "peaches and plums, motherfucker," I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't it the 50 years of concept?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good line.
God, proof of concept. If only. Make life a lot easier. Just give me that. What's that? Ah, crap. That episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, San Junipero?
No, not San Junipero. The other one where it's Kill the DJ. Kill the DJ, where they go into the virtual simulation for dating life. Anyways, so we finally have Iris come back because she thinks that they've gotten him, but then she also thinks that Julia's just fucked up again.
Psych?
I don't really think Julia's just fucking up. You know, Julia's trying to do her best, you know? She's trying to do her best when she went down there to get magic back. It's not her fault. The gods are dicks and turned magic off to begin with.
That's true. Iris kind of seems like a bitch, too.
She's a brat.
Yeah.
A little brat's what she is. Like, come on.
Oh, no, she's a dead brat, so.
Well, now she's a dead brat because that's what happens when you don't watch your back and just show up at places.
Or, I mean,
if
well,
the blood's
also.
like, come on.
But also, like, she knew that they messed up.
So why would she show up?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You know that they messed up, so why would you go there to kill Julia?
Why would you be like, hey...
And you know he's looking for you.
Yeah, I know the guy that's trying to kill me just left from here, and you guys stopped... You failed to harness him, so I'm going to stand here and really slowly wave my arms in the air to kill you while he pops up behind me.
I was like, well, that was a little too convenient. And then I also did think, even though I loved that it was Elliot's vulnerability that was like his fear, I thought, it's a bit convenient to make that the thing, because then it's so clearly something that Elliot can call back to for Quentin to believe that it's Elliot.
For you to connect to.
I was like, I appreciate it, though, but at the same time, I was like, oh, well, that's, just to make sure that he remembers to know.
I will give them a pass on that one only because of with with last season going up until now, how much they have hammered the connection between Q and Elliot.
Yeah.
Even to the point of when Elliot's gone and the monster being in Elliot, they're still together, and now Q has to deal with that. It makes sense for him to be the one that Q is like, holy shit, he's still in there, because he spent all that time with him. The rest of them have just been around the monster just only recently, where Q's been just like surviving with him. So
Yeah.
I'll give them that one, but I do agree with you. It's a nice little bow.
Yeah, I thought they were. I was like, well, I'm sure there are other moments in his life as well, but I still liked the moment. Don't take away the moment. Keep going with this. I want to see them together. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Iris is just. I would never show up to a place where I know that someone's clearly trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Just to be spiteful and catty and.
She's obviously not the god of strategy.
No. But speaking of what she is the god of, let's go into our special segment, the God of the Week.
You like that transition?
Yes. Right? So, I wrote my paper. It's the saddest thing. Our God of the Week is Iris. Iris is the goddess of the rainbow and the messenger of the gods. She's also the goddess of fertility, colors, the sea, heraldry, the sky, truth, and oaths. She's the daughter of Thalamus and Electra, and is married to, I'm going to say it wrong, Zephyrus. However you want to say it. It's like Zephyr added us. That's who she's married to. So the reason they think that the rainbow, she's the god of rainbows, is because it's a link between heaven and earth, because she's also used to deliver prayers from people to the gods, or she can take prayers directly and fulfill them herself. And she's also mentioned in the Iliad mainly, but she's not really referred to in the Odyssey, because her role is kind of taken over by Hermes, which is also a messenger god. I always want to say Hermes. Been messing me up my whole life. I know it's Hermes. Anyways, this...
I've never heard anybody say it like that.
Hermes?
Mm-mm.
Hermes is the fashion. The
No
you
idea.
don't know?
Nope.
With the horses and everything?
I live under a rock.
It's very high-end fashion. Hermes.
I wear trash bags.
Yeah, that's right. The word iridescent is also derived from her name. And
Oh.
yes. And the element iridium is also named after her. Yeah, because of its diverse color of its salts. I tried looking up a picture of iridium to bring in today. Good luck finding those colorful salts on it. It apparently only shows up when it's in the earth. When it's actually derived, it just looks like metal, because that's what it is. So I couldn't find a picture. You're gonna have to go to Grand Canyon and see it for yourself.
Just trust you.
The actress who portrays Iris is Madison Beatty. She's also in The Master, The Fosters, and she plays Daisy, age 10, in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. To throw it back, she made me feel super old when I found that out, because I was in college when Curious Case of Benjamin Button came out, and she was 10. I'm heartbroken. In any case, that is the week of God of the Week.
Hey,
Iris!
wonderful.
Yes. Go, stare at a rainbow and think about her coming down and blessing you with a prayer or something. Or
Pour one out.
blessing you. Pour one out for Iris, because she's dead. All right, let's go ahead into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what is coming next. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to find some. I watched the teaser next time, so there's something up with Penny, obviously, because he got kidnapped.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where Katie is, because we didn't get any of her this episode.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just wondering, what other gods are we going to kill? Because I feel like Iris was, the only other god that was, introduced outside of...
Well, we got Persephone.
I mean, so is she next?
Well, Persephone's not a god, though.
But who else?
really.
Because otherwise they're gonna just start introducing gods and then killing them right away. I don't know. Yeah. I was just surprised that they brought Iris back to I thought this was interesting. Okay, now there's this another side plot of the gods trying to kind of help to restrain the monster because he's hunting them, but that's kind of gone now because Iris is dead. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm really curious to see what happens.
Well, there's also, I think it might also be a part of I think they're going to bring in the Titans. Like I just think that that's a part of everything that's going on. Because if the Olympian gods, which are the Irises and the Bacchus and the dude from the first episode whose name I can't remember now, who was first brought in, introduced, and then
Killed right away. Yeah.
Killed right away. You know, he wasn't actually killed, so I'm sure he'll come back. But
Oh, I guess that's true too. That wasn't him. That was his.
yeah, that was his person, his servant.
Proxy.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what they're going to do is just go god hunting, which would be fun.
Yeah.
I've been wanting for
I'm
them to
into
get
it.
into the gods for a minute. In terms of Penny, you know, I would actually, before we get to even where Penny 23 is, I would like to check in on Penny Alpha. Like, can we get to Penny Prime? Because what's happening with him? He's been in the library. We've not cared about him.
Yeah.
We're 5 episodes in. We're almost halfway there. Can you give me some info? Is he okay? Does he remember himself? I assume not. He ate that cupcake. You know, you're not supposed to eat food in the afterworld. Also a thing in the leftovers. Anyways, yeah, so I think that getting to Penny Prime would be my priority. I also think that Alice is going to have that come back and bite her in the ass, the whole thing with Mr. Sheffield. I'm sorry, Mr. Plover. So those are the things I'm kind of looking forward to. I could take a break from Darth Elliott. Not from Elliot, but I could take a small break and see what else is going on there in the world, just to kind of to fill things out. Because if we don't, then it will be an entire season of just god hunting.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of like, okay, cool.
Especially us not having Katie this episode. I'm pretty sure next episode is going to be, if any, Darth Elliott, very light on the Darth Elliott.
Yeah. If we don't get Kitty next episode, then maybe they'll do a Penny heavy episode for next episode and then the episode after that.
I think they're going to be connected because I think Katie and Marina are connected, and I think the Marina thing is going to be somehow involved with the Penny thing. So
I still think that Marina is enacting the bounty and was able to overcome whatever Katie did
bad
to her.
luck thing and trying to turn them in or something.
And so she's grabbing them one by one, which would make sense. It's smarter to grab them one by one. And then, we didn't talk about this, but Josh is like back in Fillory with Margot being her. Did he say fuckboy? I was like, that's not how fuckboys work, Penny 23. You don't carry them with you.
He's not getting any.
No.
Gave her the oil rub down. Got nothing.
Well, I mean, she don't gotta get you nothing. She's got.
No, that's true.
Better worship.
Yeah.
That's actually, I do appreciate that episode. Like, let's just talk about that because I wasn't here last week. Yes. You know, you should rub oil on your with consent on the people that you love. Doesn't mean they owe you anything. Okay? Massage the feet, rub the backs, get some nice oils, carrier oils, nice, almond butter, add some essential oils. I wasn't here for Valentine's Day, so, I'm just giving that to you now for Sweetest Day, whatever. All right, guys, that wraps up this episode of The Magician's After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. And Nate, where can they follow you?
Guys, you can find me everywhere that people can be found at Dog Like Nate.
All right, guys. Thank you for dealing with my exhaustion and silliness, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.